What's going on with it, guys? UCF Jaguar here for a Father's Day edition of a UCF Jaguar video. And who else to bring on here than my actual father? What's going on, man?
Hey, it's nice to be in Orlando for Father's Day.
Yeah, man, I didn't have to drive to Jacksonville. He came back down here, so it's pretty convenient for me. I come up there every now and then. Usually, for whatever reason, I'm up there more in like September, October,
I wonder
November
why.
time.
I wonder why.
Yeah,
oh,
usually-
yeah, there's some football going on.
Yeah, there's
up
some
there.
football going on. So, yeah, man, we're just killing it. Chilling on the Father's Day. Hopefully, all you guys are having a good day. But man, he's really the reason why I'm like super into football. Like, how young was I when he first started taking me to games?
Oh gosh, you went to your first one before you could even walk in Gainesville. Anyhow, he was raised a Gator, but it was meant for them to go to UCF, which worked out just great.
Yeah, because they gave me that fat letter in the mail that said you have not been accepted. So I didn't have any words. I just had a finger for him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I had Gator season tickets since I graduated in '85. Had them for all those years, and when they rejected my kids, I was no longer a season ticket holder, and they still call and ask me why, and I tell them I still love the Gators, though, and I'll go to a few games a year, but I'm not contributing any money to the UF fund anymore.
I've probably been to more Gator games than Jaguar games. Like, you think?
Well, you had to have because
Because we used to go to every single Gator game. Like,
yeah, in the Tebow era before that. And,
yeah, I went to all those games.
Um,
Chris Leak, saw him play a bunch.
Yeah, you guys were. Heck, I've got a picture on here. Show that to them.
Oh yeah, here's me.
That's one of my favorite all-time pictures of
That's
them.
me and my brother. You guys have seen my brother when we do like the live streams, but yeah, it's grew up going to a bunch of Gator games. They're just during the good. I mean, we went to the good era, man. When like Urban Meyer was the head coach, a lot of when they had Percy Harvin, a lot of like fun days. But
Yeah, Percy Harvin is probably the greatest football player I've ever seen on that field, other than maybe Wilbur Marshall back in the days. But I'm just showing my age here. But if you go to YouTube and look at Wilbur Marshall, like when University of Southern California came to play in the Swamp in like 1980 or something like that. But Percy was the man.
yeah, Percy was that. That was the most electric college football player I've ever seen. I mean, he'd play wide receiver, then he'd go in the backfield and take snaps at running back. It's a shame his migraines were so bad. I mean, he was really a Hall of Fame talent. I mean, I think he played like one game for the Seahawks that one year and had like a kickoff return in the second half. I mean, that dude was something else. And he started his career off pretty well with the Vikings, but never really came back to form.
Yeah, I did take the kids to the national championship game when Florida played Oklahoma. We
Yeah,
sat
Sam
up
Bradford was
there in the
quarterback.
upper deck, and Percy, although Tebow had some big plays, Percy Harvin won that game.
That stadium was sketchy because we were really at the top, and I remember like there were so many people up there, like literally the top deck was moving.
Yeah,
Like I thought it was about to collapse. I mean,
that was weird.
I mean that's easily. I mean they have a bunch of Super Bowls there and stuff, and obviously national championships, but they don't get that many people there for like Hurricane games or Dolphin games, obviously. But I was worried the thing was going to collapse.
And I was 100% sober because I got two kids in tow with me and had to be a responsible adult.
But it's funny because not only was I raised a Gator fan, I was also raised a Buccaneer fan, like for the
Yeah,
longest time.
I know it. When I was raised in Sarasota, so I grew up a Cowboy fan until the Buccaneers became into existence, and I became an instant Buck fan. So when we moved to Jacksonville in '95, I still had, loved my Buccaneers, and I slowly, after taking the kids to training camps and Jags games, one day it just hit me that I need to be a Jag fan, and of course the Bucks drafted Jameis Winston, who I can't stand, that crap boy. So it's when Tampa Bay comes to Jacksonville this year, I'm a Jag guy now. There's no ifs, ands, or uts about it.
Yeah, because I remember one time we went to we went to a Jaguars Buccaneers game. I was either Sunday night or Monday night football.
Sunday night, yeah.
And it was like a Keenan McCardell return game. How he went to the Buccaneers, and like I was at that game in Jacksonville wearing like a Buccaneers jersey, probably like Michael Clayton or something like that. I used to have a bunch of Bucks jerseys. And I remember when the Super Bowl was in town, I was wearing a Mike Allstott jersey, and we actually ran into him in downtown Jacksonville. Pretty nice guy. It was really
he
funny.
was great. He saw us walking towards him, and he had a big old grin on his face, and he was as nice as could be. That's for sure.
Yeah, that dude was awesome. But yeah, I just remember. I think when I was in junior high was when I really started liking the Jaguars more because I realized I'm like, why am I like, why do I like the Buccaneers more than the Jaguars? I live in Jacksonville. Like I'm from Jacksonville. Like I've gone to all these training camps. That was one thing that was really fun back in the day. Is going to all the training camps because back in the day it used to just have so much more. It was you had so much more access because players would walk through. Like I have pictures of myself with Fred Taylor, all the big Jaguars back in the day. Jimmy Smith, I have a picture with him. But nowadays they close everything off to where like now they take a back way in, so players have to really be feel nice if they want to give any autographs. But like that Jaguar board, back behind me, have every single starter from 2014 on that board except for Chris Clemens, who was kind of a dick. Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of Chris Clemens, but I don't know. I was going back to the dark years of Jaguars football, really back in like the Gus Bradley era.
Yeah, well, showing you guys that, like YouTube on Mark Brunell's game with Jimmy Smith in Denver and stuff like that. I remember you guys were so little, and I just moved to Jacksonville. We're definitely pulling for the Jags. It was just such a surprise. Natron Means and that play Clyde Simmons made in Buffalo, which he may or may not know what I'm talking about. But and then Tony Baselli just keeping Bruce Smith away from Mark Brunell in that game was that's when I started to morph over towards the Jags. But I'm 100% in now, and I hope we beat the Bucs 45-0.
But yeah, really the only full game I've seen from like Mark Brunell and Tony Baselli and all that crew was the Denver playoff game because it's like actually on YouTube. Like I wasn't able to because I was born in '93, so what the Jags first year was like '95 or something. So like when they were in the 1999 playoffs, I was like 6 years old, so I didn't know what was going on then. Really, when I started really paying attention to the Jaguars, when I was in like 5th or 6th grade, and then they were pretty good back then because. That was the days they had like John Henderson and like Mike Peterson and like Rasheed Mathis, I believe, was on the team back then. I remember pretty vividly the playoffs against the Steelers where Garrard had that big run, and that was kind of some of my earlier years. But then obviously went through a whole like dark period, which really sucked. And we came out for a little bit, but last year was pretty damn dark. 5-11, jeez.
Yeah, we're planning our trip now. We're thinking we're headed to the Denver game.
Yeah, Denver game, man. Yeah, flight tickets from Orlando to Denver are like $130 a person. Like right now, like it's super. A lot of people like to fly out of Orlando because it's super cheap. I mean, people from Jacksonville will drive down to Orlando just to fly out.
That's what I'll be doing. We'll be headed to Denver from Orlando here. Look, we're planning that one out now.
Yeah, I think that game's like week 3, but I think that's a 4 o'clock kickoff Eastern time. So
hopefully the White Sox will be playing Denver, the Colorado Rockies out there.
Isn't that an NL team? And Rockies are that's what I'm saying.
The odds of that, I'm just saying, it's funny.
Yeah, do they? Yeah, I don't even know. What in MLB? What do they play? 4 National League teams.
Well, the Cubs and the Sox play
every year, yeah.
Yeah, home and home. Actually, they play Tuesday and Wednesday this week at Wrigley, so that ought to be interesting. Yeah, I did take him to the 2005 World Series in Chicago, and he really didn't understand what the World Series was all about in 2005.
I was in 6th grade, so
yeah, but,
I mean, I was about it, but I was I remember it was games 1 and 2, and it was pretty wild because game 2. Was you saw a grand slam by Paul Konerko on a walk-off home run in the same game.
Yeah.
That's pretty wild.
Scott Podsednik. And we got to, I got in with the White Sox because I was a bat boy when I was a kid. And we got to go to the VIP party after the game, and they had all kinds of Chicago dignitaries there, so he actually saw Michael Jordan in there. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, so it's got the hookups over there, but yeah, it was a fun game. A lot of people get thrown off when they see a White Sox hat just because I'm all Florida teens. I've lived in Florida my whole life, but it's like, yeah, I like the White Sox, even though I'm not a huge MLB guy. I mean, of course I'll root for the White Sox, and if they're in the playoffs, I'll watch every game of theirs. But
that's been a while, but we're coming on.
It's just hard. I don't know. Baseball's a little hard for me. Really, I'm just a passionate football fan. That's really the only. Unless like I have teams in the hunt, like when the Magic, when they were in the playoffs, I was watching all their games, and obviously back when they had Dwight Howard. Jameer Nelson and all of them back in it's probably 10 years ago now. I was all about those games, but it's been a dark era of Magic basketball too, and UCF almost beat Duke in basketball this year. I was into that, but yeah, football is my go-to, and it's fun because like when I first went to UCF, UCF was nothing when I first went to UCF. Like I literally viewed them the same thing as I'd view like FIU, but literally my second year being at the school was the year Blake Bortles and Storm Johnson led us to only a like one loss year, and we went out to win the Fiesta Bowl against Baylor.
Didn't they just lose to the Gamecocks that year?
Yeah, they just barely lost to the Gamecocks. And it was funny because like that game had the Clowney who got drafted first overall, then Blake Bortles who got drafted third overall, and those two players were in that game, and it was a really close game. But I remember I didn't watch it because I blacked out of the tailgate. I woke up usually in college when you get super blacked out, you just wake up at the fraternity house because it was almost like a game over button. And in a video game where you'd reach the last checkpoint, you just wake up at a fraternity house being like, what the hell just happened? But yeah,
I didn't raise you to be that way.
Yeah, I didn't get raised in alcoholic.
Well, his first legal beer, we were on a cruise in Jamaica. He'd been 18 for about 6 months, and he stepped up to the bar and he had a couple of red stripes, I think, in Jamaica.
Yeah, I mean, I tried to show them my ID, but they're like, I don't care. like they don't. Yeah. There's like sound. There's not like they're gonna get arrested.
And his little brother who grew a foot his junior year of high school. At that time, they looked like Connor. They looked like they were 6 years apart. And they said, the little guy can drink too. I said, no, that's all right.
Yeah,
that was funny.
Yeah, it was a good time. But
fired up about the Jags though. I think, hopefully the tight end Oliver is going to be a good player, and I know we were all talking about that. Was that tight end with the last name we were thinking they were going to grab this year?
Oh yeah, Irv Smith. Oh no,
Iowa kid.
Hawkinson, yeah. T.J. Hawkinson. But then Josh Allen fell there, and it was just. I mean, he wasn't even being. No one was even talking about Josh Allen just because all these teams needing a 3-4 defensive end in the top few rounds, and the Raiders went and drafted Cleveland Farrell. You had a couple teams draft quarterbacks, and that's how Ramsey dropped to us in 2016, I believe it was, because quarterbacks went 1 and 2, then a team gets a defensive end, and another wild card team, the Cowboys go get Ezekiel Elliott, and it just makes the guy fall right in your lap, and that's the same exact thing that happened this year.
Well, the DJ Chark and Conley, that's going to be, I think, a big part of. They got to show up. We got this great quarterback now, so those guys.
Yeah, DJ Chark needs to grow up a little bit. He had some baby hands last year, dropping stuff, and he wound up getting injured. I mean, he's got the perfect body for it. He's big. I think he's like 6'4". He runs he's a really fast wide receiver, very physical, good blocker, but needs to be able to catch the balls to get to him. But hopefully, I think Nick Foles is a good quarterback for him because he's a guy that likes his big receivers. He likes to. DJ Chark showed some good deep ball ability last year in the few games that he did play. So I mean, we need some kind of wide receiver to really step up.
That's a fact. Then the back end of the defense too. We got some new faces back there. That's going to be important.
Yeah. So I mean, the defense should be good as long as the defensive line creates pressure. The linebackers a little bit weird with Talon Smith sitting out, and going to have some new faces there. You got 2 new safeties, so it's hard to really pencil in the Jaguars defense to me as being super elite just yet, but hopefully the offense can rely on Nick Foles' arm a little bit. But if Nick Foles goes down, we're kind of screwed because we got Gardner Minshew back there. He's like a 5'11". I forget how tall he is, but just a rookie. We got barely any experience. I don't think we have any starting experience or any even playing experience in the backup quarterback room. So
90% of the teams, though, if their quarterback goes down, they're in trouble unless you're the Bucs and you have Blaine Gabbert backing up.
Yeah, but I mean there's some teams. I mean the Chargers have Tyrod Taylor to back up. There's really not. I mean there's really not a whole lot. But yeah, when a quarterback goes down, there's usually not much to back him up.
But I'm hoping if Goff goes down, we still love Blake. I wish it had worked out, but man, Blake is just the coolest. He never got hurt. He's such a regular Joe. I mean, that's the guy you sit at the bar next to and talk about all kinds, from surfing to fishing, or
he was a super relatable. Yeah. I mean, he just seems like such a regular guy, and I feel like a lot of Jaguars fans like him a little bit more just because we spent so much time defending him, just because the media would just outright crucify him, and it was like, all right, come on. Like, he may not be the greatest, but we don't have to, like, rip him as much as the media really did. But, the Jaguars needed to cut him. He needed to be cut for his own sake. And, we'll see if it works out for him in LA. And I know he wants to eventually be a starter somewhere. So, we'll see what kind of coaching McVay can do for him.
And injuries are everything to do in the NFL. Last year, we had a turnstile offensive line. That's got to change. Norville's got to stay healthy. Cam Robinson's got to come back.
Yeah, the O-line was super
Cam's
injured.
got to stay in there, and
We were down to like our fifth left tackle. It was just, the whole entire offense was getting injured. Fournette was getting injured. Corey Grant was getting injured. All our tight ends got injured. Our wide receiver, we were missing our most experienced wide receiver when the season started with Marquise Lee. DJ Chark, our rookie, was in and out. It was just not. We did not have a very good year when it comes to health. Not to mention like the quarterback position wasn't helping too much, but.
And hopefully not to keep jumping around, but Taven Bryan needs to show up there on the, plug some space there on the front of that nose guard. He's not a defensive end. I don't want to see him out.
Yeah, they just need to keep him at defensive tackle. That's like he didn't have all that great a year, but if you put Marcel Darius out at defensive end, you think he's going to do anything? He just didn't fit that defensive end spot at all. But,
but we got Calais to lead the charge and keep that team going. Miles Jack has to play right, and still can't figure out what's going on with Telvin. Man, get a life, buddy.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know what's going on with him, but I know the Jaguars just fined him like $85,000 for not showing up. But I don't know. There's no telling what's going on with him mentally. So I still think that he's going to be back when the season starts. To be honest with you, but I don't know what the way the Jaguars were calling him out and the way they find him. I don't know if he even. It looks like he has a thing where he doesn't love the game right now or something. It's very strange. But yeah, there's no telling what's going on with him. But yeah, we'll probably end this video real quick. You got any last words?
Well, I appreciate all you guys subbing to my pride and joy here. My other one's in the other room, but it's amazing how far his channel has come. I remember he called me one night and said, "Hey, I just put a YouTube video up about the Jags. You ought to check it out."
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
And it was like, and I have a broadcasting degree from Florida, which is even funnier. And he's got more talent in his pinky finger than I ever had. And I actually worked at CNN Sports for a couple of years, but Ted Turner paid no money, so been in sales ever since.
Yeah, my first video is pretty awful. You can still go check it out. I didn't know what I was doing, but just takes some learning, takes some practice, and just like everything, you get better with time. But all right, guys, we're deucing out of here.
Happy Father's Day
to my Papa Bear and all Papa Bears out there. And
go Jags.
We'll see you guys in the next video. Go Jags.